Joining me now is Illinois Democratic Congressman Brad Schneider. He is a member of the Ways and Means Committee. He's also chair of the New Democrat Coalition. So, Congressman, let's first start with the big picture here. You are on Ways and Means, so you're dealing with the tax portion of this big bill. Do you have any idea what's in the tax and spending package right now, or is this still a moving target?
Well, I know what's in it now. It's what came out of the Ways and Means Committee last week, and it's legislation that will knock 14 million people off of Medicaid. It will add $5 trillion to our debt if the cuts are made permanent, and it's doing nothing to give relief to folks in states like Illinois, New York, California, who are being taxed, basically double taxed on the cap with the SALT deduction. So I know what the problems are. Ways and Means Democrats tried 38 times to offer amendments to try to convince the Republicans to not increase the debt by $5 trillion, to not knock people off of Medicaid, to try to move forward with a bill that has bipartisan support. There's just no interest to do that.
Yeah, and you would probably indicate with the president coming tomorrow morning, Republicans can theoretically pass this whole agenda without a single Democratic vote, and that seems to be the course that the president would like them to take. But are Democrats like you waiting and hoping that this deal may fall apart, that the Republicans won't be able to pass it on their own, and then they come to folks like you to try and work on some sort of bipartisan path forward?
Sure. I mean, the hope is that we could find a path that would put working families first, would help families who are trying to pay for their kids' education or keep a roof over their family's head, put food on the table, that we're helping those families and giving them the relief that they deserve, rather than giving massive tax breaks to billionaires like Elon Musk and President Trump's children. That's what we're hoping for. What we saw last week in Ways and Means, Energy and Commerce, the Agriculture Committee, is there is no willingness to even work with Democrats. It's a Republican-only bill. And this is the problem Mike Johnson then has, because there are at least a dozen Republicans who've said we will not support the draconian cuts to Medicaid that are going to knock 14 million people out of health care. And there's people like the Freedom Caucus, more than 30 members, who are saying we want to accelerate those cuts and take even deeper cuts.
So have you had any conversations with some of your Republican friends on the side saying, I'm here waiting for you if this thing falls apart?
Oh, yeah, I've had conversations on the side. I've had conversations in public. If the Republicans are unable to pass what they're trying to do, which is putting the burden on working families to give the benefits to the billionaires, if they want to instead put the focus on moving our country forward, creating a stronger economy, clearing obstacles and opening up paths of opportunity, we're ready and willing to work together.
I want to put up what the ranking Democrat on the Ways and Means Committee, Richard Neal, told Semaphore about the tax provisions in this bill. He said we could reach a deal with them on probably 98% of all of this. We just object to the idea that the rich aren't paying more. Is that true? Are you in agreement in 98% of the tax provisions in this package?
Absolutely. In fact, it's estimated if you extended the 2017 tax cut for 98% of Americans and only took at the top rates, people making over $500,000 a year, that income over $500,000, taxed it at the rate we had 5, 6 years, or I guess 8 years ago now. This was a rate that helped us balance the budget when President Clinton was running things. We could achieve most of what we're trying to accomplish on both sides. But the Republicans are insisting with a bill that's going to add $5 trillion of debt in the next 9 years. They're playing all kinds of gimmicks rather than 10 years, using 9 years as an example. And if you take this out to 30 years, a child born today will incur $45 trillion additional debt because of the actions that Republicans are trying to ram through in the middle of the night. As you mentioned, the hearing's going to be at 1 in the morning. Last week, the hearings were all through the night.
I want to turn now, sir, to President Biden and his prostate cancer diagnosis yesterday. This is what Vice President Vance said today. Take a listen.
Look, I will say, whether the right time to have this conversation is now or at some point in the future, we really do need to be honest about whether the former president was capable of doing the job. And why didn't the American people have a better sense of his health picture? Why didn't the American people have more accurate information about what he was actually dealing with? This is serious stuff.
Do you, sir, feel like you had an accurate picture of President Biden's health while he was in office?
Look, I was one of the first people after President Biden's debate performance last June to call for him to pass the torch to the next generation. I think that was the right thing to do. Should he have done it sooner? We can have that debate, and maybe the outcome of the election in, last November might have been different. I can't change history. What I can do is look to the future. And if I look to the future, if I look what this administration is doing, putting small businesses on the brink of bankruptcy with here again, on again, off again tariff news, putting people, families at risk of losing health care, taking whole communities and putting them with uncertainty of what's the future going to be on a day-to-day basis. We need to look to the future. We need to make sure that the Democrats take back the House next November. My focus is one number and one number only. We need to get at least 218 Democrats elected next year from November.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that you want to focus on the future, but in order to win re-election, to win back the majority in the House, don't Democrats need to reconcile with this question of the lack of trust that may exist with voters now about President Biden's term in office? Don't you have to go back and understand exactly what mistakes were made and then be honest with the American people about how you handle that going forward?
I think, Ryan, you're right. We always have to be honest and earn trust. That's an ongoing basis. I think right now, and as you mentioned, I have the privilege of chairing the New Democrat Coalition. We've grown to 115 members. We were 100 members in the last Congress. We added 15 total new numbers, but in that 15, there are 30 members who've joined us since the last Congress. We continue to grow, and it is growing on a message of serving the people we represent, working on growing our economy from the middle out, giving people an opportunity not just to make ends meet, but to get ahead, making sure that we're providing healthy and safe communities, that people feel safe in their homes, on their way to work, taking their kids to school, and that the United States continues to be a leader in the world, protecting Americans and American interests at home and abroad always. And that's what we're focused on. We'll continue to grow. We hope to add at least 3 new seats in the next election. We have to do it by building trust, by convincing people that if they give us a chance to govern, we're going to govern in a way that represents their priorities, their values, and their interests, and that will make their future better, make their life better.
And finally, let's talk about your home state of Illinois. You've got a pretty hot Senate race there. I think you're one of the only Democrats not running in that Senate race. But one of your colleagues, Lauren Underwood, is reportedly thinking about getting into an already crowded field, which has a couple other of your House colleagues. Would you advise her against a run? Do you think Democrats need to coalesce behind someone? What's your thought about how this Senate will play?
Well, I'll tell you exactly what I told Lauren. Whatever she decides, I will tell her it's the perfect decision for her. She's got to make that decision herself. She's a wonderful colleague. I like working with her in the House. I hope I have the privilege to continue to work with her in the House. The folks who are running for Senate, Robin Kelly, Raja Krishnamurthy, and Juliana Stratton, are all wonderful servants to the people of Illinois, and it's been a privilege working with them. I know that whoever wins this race, the people of Illinois will be well served.
Very diplomatic, sir. I appreciate that. You have a very big job ahead of you in terms of your chairmanship of the New Democrats and everything else. Congressman Brad Schneider, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.